again. I think I should be on now. All right, all right. So welcome in, Start Enlightenment channel. Give me 1 second. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. All right. So welcome to Start Enlightenment channel. And today we're gonna talk about a very interesting video. We're gonna talk about what is spiritual wealth and currency, right? What is spiritual wealth and currency? So from an ultimate point of view, like in all totality, what spiritual wealth and currency is, it can play out in many different ways. But overall, the totality of spiritual currency is basically a person's spirit size. So, however big a person's spirit is, that's how much light and information and currency that their spirit has. Now, there's different levels to different things as well. Like just like there's space within space, there's different levels and different breakdowns of each different energy. You see what I'm saying? So, a person may um they may have a lot of energy, let's say, in one particular chakra, right? But they may lack energy in another chakra. So they have currency, but they may have currency in one area. Now, that's why I say either way, it doesn't matter what it is, but it's how the energy is played out. So you could be a person who you got a lot of energy in your root chakra. You know what I'm saying? That deals with sexual energy. There's a lot of your currency in there. You got a person that's got a lot of emotional feelings in your heart chakra, a lot of energy in your heart chakra. That's emotions and feelings. That's what your currency is. That's where your most of your currency coming in. You got a lot of energy in your higher chakras, aka your third eye, your crown. And you might be rich in imagination or rich in knowledge and spiritual information, spiritual knowledge. Have a broad conscious awareness. Have a higher level of consciousness. You see what I'm saying? So these things take different forms. Now, basically, I'm gonna say there's outer and there's inner. There's external and then there's internal. Basically, there's two sides to the spiritual currency coin, meaning you can have a lot of currency um, by having a big, broad, expanded spirit. That means you don't went through so many different realm of realities, um, experiences, different many lifetimes, and your spirit is so big. You're a broad spirit. You are now a source. So things will play out in many different ways, even more so than money can when your spirit is broad. That's the first side of spiritual currency. That's spirit side. That's the external. Then the internal is more so dealing with like your chakras and your energy centers. Meaning, like I just broke before, you could be rich in your sexual chakra, your root chakra organ, have a lot of energy in there, but you might lack the heart chakra. You see what I'm saying? You might have a lot of energy in your heart, but you might lack the higher chakra in your low. See what I'm saying? So, um, that also plays a key too, to the point where even if your spirit ain't as big as let's say somebody else's, if your chakra wheels are lit and they're spinning their vortexes, aka these vortices, they're spinning powerfully enough, then that is a sense of currency too. And a lot of times, those type of currencies, when you talk about your chakras and stuff like that, and your energy centers, these manifest the fastest as far as physical currency because they're closer to the physical realm. You talk about energy, that's closer to the physical realm. See the frequency, that's talking about your overall spirit size. You know what I'm saying? How big you are, how long you've been here, how many lives you've lived, how much experience. So your spirit is so big now, it can take a bigger. All that is dependent upon just your spirit size in general. That may manifest into money, and it can, but sometimes it may just play out as you being sustained in this reality through miraculous, magical, mysterious ways that is unexplainable. So you end up being taken care of in different ways, and it'll take place physically, but it may not even always be money. Sometimes a person, a place that can help you way much more than money can, or something may manifest in your life just by you having so much of a big of an orb, aka more spiritual currency, that you'll manifest having stuff in your life that can help you sustain yourself even more so than money per se. You know what I'm saying? But when you're looking at it from an internal point of view, the internal version of that, there's another version. So you can have both. But just know these are the two ways. Either having a broad spirit, aka your spirit size and expansion, a broad spirit, that's a lot of spiritual currency, or being in the situation, aka, orb and all that stuff, or whatever, or being in a situation where your actual internal energy centers, aka your chakras and energy centers, are lit. So it could be either one, but like say you got all 7 chakras lit, or the main three too. because that the main three control each one around it. They when you have all three of your main chakras lit, they affect the chakras that are relative and around it. So you end up raising kundalini or having your kundalini lit anyway. But if you're a person you walk around with like lit kundalini, even if your spirit ain't as big, you already are generating still a lot of internal currency. You see what I'm saying? I always, like I use in my other video, I look at it like this, right? I say, what difference does it mean if you got a big old chakra? Like if you, I mean, I'm sorry, if you have a big old spirit, like if you have a huge spirit, that's still a form of currency. It's gonna manifest in your life in many different ways. You might not have to try hard as some other people. Don't get it twisted. But if your chakras aren't lit and your spirit is broad, there could be a problem with that because you might end up being in a situation where you lack life, aka you may be sustained because your spirit is big enough of an orb to be its own source. So things are going to miraculously and mysteriously manifest in your life of you being stable in some shape or form or not having to worry as much. But your life may be, you may have a dud life because if your energy centers and your chakra wheels are not lit and they're not spinning and they're dull and what you say calcified, they're not active and lit, but your spirit is bright, then every chakra that these centers deal with, each one that is not lit, that's dim, that's dull, that's calcified for you, you're not going to be experiencing that area of life. So, for instance, say you're a broad spirit, like I say, so you're sustained, things miraculously manifest for you to be able to be sustained as a reality. But you may be in a situation where, say, your root chakra is dull or is calcified or not lit, you're not going to manifest a lot of sexual partners or sexual energy in your life. You know what I'm saying? Or not know how to control your own sexual energy. You're not going to have that much of a sexual life, right? So you're not going to have nobody to suit you in that area or pleasure you in that area sexually. If your heart chakra is calcified or closed and that energy center is not lit, then that's going to manifest you not having people that you can actually connect to on a deeper level for you to actually feel comfortable to open up. You see what I'm saying? To feel comfortable that you can open up to or have them being able to open up to you because your heart chakra is lit, right? I mean, it's not lit. I'm sorry, it's not lit. And so that's gonna manifest that way. You're not gonna build genuine connections in your life is what I'm saying if your heart chakra is calcified. If your heart chakra is dull, dim, or not lit. You're not gonna manifest genuine relationships in your life, nor manifest somebody that is actually on your same vibration that feel the same way about you. You're not gonna manifest people who really resonate with you for you is what I'm trying to say. Period. And then lastly, the last main three chakras. I know there's seven main chakras, but I talk about the main three that rule and govern the ones all around them. So if those three are lit, then your other chakras will be lit around it too. But that's another video. So like I said, the third main chakra is like the third eye crown center, the higher chakra. If that's not lit, then you're not gonna manifest a lot of higher knowledge, philosophical knowledge, spiritual knowledge, a lot of wisdom knowledge. You're also your conscious level of awareness is not gonna be that high. You're not gonna be constantly aware of much. So you may be a big spirit. You maybe know how to, you know what I'm saying. If you're a big spirit and you just is not lit, you may still have done certain things here enough to the point where you'll be able to still maybe get your one too because you may be familiar with the earth realm, or you may be able to sustain yourself even if you're not from, you know what I'm saying, from here and that third eye crown chakra is not lit, but it'll still play as ways of you not fully being wise or not having conscious awareness. You may lack a certain sense of imagination. You see what I'm saying? You may not have a broad imagination. Um, you may be in a situation where you don't manifest people who are into the same things as you. You see what I'm saying? Who are into similar purposes and paths, who are on a similar purpose path to you, or actually into the same purpose and path or journey in their life. You may not manifest people who are into the same things as you or think similar to you. You see what I'm saying? So since imagination kind of deal with travel a little bit too. The more a person has imagination, the more their ability to travel because they're traveling internally in the yin realm, the internal realm, the spirit realm, by them having imagination and whatnot. So that'll manifest as them having experiences in real life that gives them the ability to travel. Whether somebody just randomly coming up to you and say, "Bro, you want to go this trip?" or your family member asking this or something, your life not lining up or aligning in a way that you can take different trips. If your imagination was that broad and powerful, and you imagine a lot in general. You see what I'm saying? Um, and that's how that pretty much that goes. You gotta understand. Um, all these things have a perk, but you want to become whole. You want to become whole. You want to be able to be a broad spirit and have a lot of experience. But you also want to be a spirit that internally is whole too, aka you still got a lot of light. You got a lot of brightness too. So you become your own source. So you got a lot of soul in you. You got a lot of emotions and feelings and soul in you and vibration in you. You see what I'm saying? So you can manifest and work your magic. You see what I'm saying? And have things mysteriously manifest in your life. So you might not even have to try as hard. Or be in situations where things may fall on your lap. You always gonna work for something, but it becomes more at ease than the person who you work hard as you can and you still don't manifest. You see what I'm trying to say? So that's how that works. I hope you understand the gist of what I was trying to say in this video. Shout out to all y'all. This probably not gonna be like no real long video. I just want to say that the difference. These are all one and the same. I told it before. I say having a broad spirit is important because the more of a bigger spirit and aura that you have as a spirit, the bigger you are, the more you have the ability or chance to have more brightness inside of you, aka have your chakras spinning more powerful, have broader, brighter chakras. But here's the catch: if you're doing something in your life, like I broke down in my other video, that is draining these things, then what difference does it have? What difference does it mean if you got this big old spirit, but your chakras are always dull, so you never pour none of your spirit into your chakras, which your chakras get manifest from your spirit in the first place. So you're not consciously feeding these things with your spirit, so people can see your spirit of you. Your chakras being lit is what creates your aura for people to be able to see your spirit off of you. So what difference does it make if you got this big old spirit, but all your chakras, you always let your chakras be dim, and you either drain them or whatever, so then people never actually get the sense of feel your spirit actually from you. You be lacking energy. You don't even really have your own spirit with you, really, type stuff like that. Like you still broad, so you can play out less dense and from on a higher density as far as you're gonna be still a big influence to a lot of people in ways that are unseen. And if you was to die, you would still become a bigger vessel and maybe a bigger oversoul and sin and be able to still be more influential over more people. Yeah, but in the physical sense, you in the physical energy realm, if your actual chakras and your energy centers are not lit, then nobody gonna be able to see your broad spirit off of you. Whereas a person whose spirit may not even be as big as yours, if all their energy centers is lit and they training their energy centers to be lit by aka building their root chakra, their sexual energy, building their emotions and feelings so they have more of that chi and currency inside of them. That's vitality. And then building their higher chakras as far as their building their imagination, becoming more constantly aware of things and having more intuition and clairvoyance in their life, working these things. So their chakras gonna be full. They full, all their chakra energy centers is gonna be full. So even if their spirit is not as big as yours, however small as their spirit may be, a person gets to feel all the full extent of their spirit though. So it don't matter if their spirit is this big and yours is this big. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. It don't matter if their spirit is just this big and your spirit is that big. If they this big but all their chakras is lit and bright, you feeling and sensing all that they got, all the spirit that they got. So they're still gonna be more influential because they actually you get the hold on. That's still more influential because you feeling all the spirit that they do got. Whereas if you some big old spirit, yeah, like I said, it plays out as influences mentally and stuff like that from a higher density that's less dense. So it'll play out in a higher way. Like the things that you think of, there might be more people out there that think similar to you because your spirit takes up more space, aka over soul. You cover more space and terrain. You're a bigger being. So you know. But as far as just like I said, being alive in the physical, you being that big, but if all your internal chakras are not lit, you nobody gets a chance to feel none of your spirit. Like it's almost like saying none of your spirit gets manifested in the flesh for people to see. None of your spirit gets manifest into density for people to actually feel your spirit off of you. So they don't get a chance to feel all the energy that you're capable of producing, all the light that you're capable of emitting because you're draining your own lights in your energy centers. You see what I'm saying? So the person that's only this big and small, if he got all his lit, he may have a smaller spirit than you, but a person feeling all his spirit, everything it got. So you feeling it. You feeling a little bit that all the little bit that he do got though. Whereas if you this big, you huge, but all your energy centers within you is dormant and calcified, then all your chakras calcified. None of your spirit is being poured into your energy bodies, so nobody ever gets to feel how powerful your spirit is. Nobody gets to feel you. They don't get to feel the energy off of how big you is. So what difference does it make? You see what I'm saying? And it don't manifest as you not living fulfilled life as much because your chakras are dim. You are your own currency. And all your currency, you're draining your currency through some shape or form. If your spirit big and your chakras are dull and not lit and dormant and calcified, to some extent you're draining yourself. Whether that be through the lower organ, aka the root chakra, and you're draining your seed too much, and you're not doing moderation with that. You see what I'm saying? It could be a situation where where um what's another one? It's another one too. I'm trying to think of it. It could be yeah, that's what it is. It could be a situation where you're not charging. It could be a higher chakra issue where you're not feeding yourself because you gotta feed all these energy centers. You gotta feed them, just like physically we eat, spiritually and internally you gotta eat too. AKA you're not feeding these other chakras. So it could be like say you're draining your say you have a broad spirit, right? But all your chakras are dull. A lot of times you may be draining your root chakra too much, aka not gonna say having too much sex, but having too much of draining your seed to the point where you don't have no root chakra energy a lot. So you always draining yourself, especially if you're doing this by yourself. It's even worse because at least with a female, you actually absorb her energies. You can still go too far with that too, and f a girl too much too consistently, and it all depends on how fast the person rebuilds too. But that's why I say it's all relative and subjective. But you could be burning yourself out too if you effing it too much and you never give yourself a chance to release. But for the most part, it's harder to do that when you effing a girl because y'all are exchanging each other's fluids. You see what I'm saying? Um, you know, um, you know, pretty much. Now, um, and then lastly, from the root chakra, if you're not allowing your root chakra to build, like I said, allowing that energy to build. See, even if you F in moderation, you bust and release in moderation, you're still building. So whether that's 2, 3 times a week or whatever, you keep it that consistent, you still building. 3 days go by, you cut off a little bit, that's still gonna grow past that. Boom, another 3 days, you cut off a little bit, that's still cumulative. But when you constantly draining yourself and building out of moderation, you're not in moderation. You're constantly depleting yourself and completing. That's chi. Like Taoists and Taoists say, that's chi. That's your essence. So if you depleting too much of it, you're never keeping your oils, your energy, your chi, your life force, and vitality in you. Another way is through a higher chakra. Let's say the heart chakra. If you never filling up the heart chakra, aka you're never predicating yourself amongst your emotions and feelings, you're never actually charging your heart chakra and yourself with emotions and feelings, then your heart chakra will become dormant. So you still have the ability to feel and emotionalize, but you're not constantly putting in energy work, aka um, utilizing that heart chakra, aka emotions and feelings. So you'll be done in that, and that's a form of vitality too. A lot of times, the more emotions and feelings you have a lot of energy. That's chi too. That's chi. And then lastly is through the higher chakra. If you're never learning or taking in knowledge and wisdom, but most importantly, from just a straight up internal level, imagination. If you're never not allowing yourself to have the form of imagination in your life, and you're never giving yourself enough time to have imagination, you can calcify and dull out that chakra. Another big one is meditation and having clairvoyance. A lot of people don't do this anyway, but if you don't give your time to be in a meditative state, to have some type of clairvoyance with your third eye chakra and your crown chakra, then your higher chakras will be dull too. So you not having imagination and you not building any type of intuition or clairvoyance in your life, aka through meditation, through building imagination too, and having a broad imagination, aka that's astral projection and astral traveling. If you're never doing none of that and you're not even learning any new knowledge or becoming more constantly aware and learning higher knowledge and learning more spirituality, then that's how you'll calcify the higher chakras too, aka the crown and the third eye chakra. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you deplete yourself by not tending to these areas and building them. See how when you're in the root chakra, if you overly drain it, you don't give it a chance to grow and build energy in the root chakra. And then if you don't constantly put in energy and building the root chakra and just in general, then you don't build it with the heart chakra. If you're not constantly feeding yourself emotions and feelings, just how you soulfully eat and spiritually eat. If you're not constantly diving into your emotions and feelings, that's your vibration, your waters, your state of beings, and being in a different state of beings. You can go within the meditative space and do that. Then you're draining your heart chakra and you're leaving it to be dull and void and empty and nullified and calcified too. And then lastly, your third eye and your crown, the higher chakras, I just call it the higher chakra, but that's all one area. If you're not giving yourself the ability to imagine your imagination, you by default become a dud. So you'll have less life anyway because you're not vibrating in the higher realms, the fourth, fifth, sixth dimension, the spiritual realm. You're not vibrating when you're not having imagination or emotions and feelings. So you become a dud and you'll be in a place where you'll be void, vacant. You won't have no friends. You won't have people around you. You will lack life too. This is why it's important to have a passion for something too. But that's besides the point. But that's a good key point. But that's besides the point. In this video, I get to another video. And if you're not being in the meditative space or any type of clairvoyance, you never built the ability to build some type of intuition in your life, and then you're not imagining. And then also, if you're not, like I said before, if you're not feeding yourself good spiritual knowledge or becoming more constantly aware of what they would call woke, waking up your, a sense of enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? Chasing a sense of enlightenment. Um, these are all important to do. You know what I'm saying? All these are forms of eating. You gotta understand, but from an internal point of view. All right. This is why they call it sexual appetite. This is why they emotions and feelings you're feeding your actual soul body. Um, when you're talking about imagination and new knowledge and conscious awareness and information, these are forms of eating. Your spirit is actually eating these things. This is how you become bigger and be. The more information you have, you can take a bigger vessel. Like when you look at the sun, right? See all that light? That's what light is. Light is light. Light is information. It's a whole bunch of spirit and energy. So the sun has reached a time in its life where it's ascended to a six-dimensional vessel, and it can now take a star body, aka to us we call it the sun. But there's a witchcraft and a masonry to it why they call it the sun, aka when they talk about Jesus Christ being the Son of God, and then how that's really Lucifer. That's why they call it the morning star. But I ain't gonna get it. That's a whole other video I go into later about the knowledge of this star. But because this is deep, because I'm gonna go deep into this about the Gregory and the Book of Enoch, and how Satan is really Saturn, which is Baphomet, and how um you got Azazel and Shemyaza, all of them trying to follow this star because they're in like the fifth dimension, I want to say. So they're not fully birthed out into the sixth dimension. Like you see how we birthed out in the third dimension now. Whether you an animal, you birthed out. Whether you a human, you made it the human vessel. You done did all those journeys and you done made it to the highest vessel. So have a big accomplishment by making it to human vessel. That this sun being is like, we got many different names. Ra, Lucifer. That's why it's in the shape of a bird. I think it's like a bird in that realm. Um, but it's still birthed out in that realm. You see what I'm saying? We're still here in the third dimension. And we got to go through all those different many levels of life. And a lot of y'all who are not trying to expand in any way, y'all barely ever going to get to that. So it's going to take like trillions of years, trillions and trillions of years. And the more lost you are that you try not to learn, and you be a dummy, and you just keep going on doing the same stuff, and you're not even expanding in that, you gonna really be a dummy. You gonna never, barely ever reach being born out into the sixth dimension. You see what I'm saying? Um, and being born out into the ascending and being born out into a higher realm. So y'all pretty much forever be lost until y'all reach a life that's so chaotic. Y'all get tired of living the same life, and y'all get tired of constantly experiencing it, and you want to end up ascending anyway. But that's a different story. That's a different video. Hope y'all understand what I was trying to say about the different ways of spiritual wealth, aka spirit size. That's the expansion, spirit size. And then internally is your energy centers and your chakras, which is the same thing. Your energy centers are your chakras, right? That's the two ways you can have currency. Certain people have a lot of energy, a lot of vitality. They got their energy centers, their chakras lit. Now, you may be a person who got a big, broad spirit. So even if your chakras not necessarily lit, you still gonna manifest certain things in your life where you be taken care of in many different ways, and you're still sustaining in this realm reality. But your quality of life, if your chakra centers are not lit and are calcified and dull and not spinning well, is gonna be a lot, you know, less. You're not gonna be living life the same way. You're almost gonna feel like you're a dud. You're gonna feel like you're left alone, and you may be sustained in some shape or form or manifested being taken care of by some shape or form mysteriously, because your spirit is broad enough. But you're gonna lack life. You're gonna lack a certain type of life that you want to live. You're gonna lack activities. There's gonna be like you're not gonna manifest a lot of situations and experiences in your life. Is what I'm saying. So it's a good chance you might have a boring life or a dull life. Is what I'm trying to say. All because your chakras are calcified, even with the big broad spirit. So it'll manifest as many different things, but your actual quality of life may be dull. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, that's pretty much it. I love y'all. See y'all later. If y'all got any questions, let me know in the chat in the comment section. Peace.